You do, right? Okay. Oh, wait a minute, but I don't. Okay. Okay, so yeah, good evening also from my part. I was approached on Slack actually if I'm willing to make a talk in this meetup, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? And I pulled my hair for like the whole week now because I said yes. But yeah, hopefully this goes through as planned. So I've been actually working within the Slovenian tech community for around 6 months. Before I wasn't really personally involved because I was with the scene because I lived in Germany. And so it was only when I started to prepare for this event that I have seen what a long history this meetup actually already has. So I went to check the previous topics and I expected a bunch of screenshots, but instead I saw this. And it's super weird seeing this now, right? I mean, where are the masks? Where is the social distancing? Yeah, so I checked the photos and I actually became nostalgic, even though I was never part of these meetups for this crowd and this community. Because you can really see that there is some legacy here. So then, I thought, okay, what can I contribute? Just quickly about what I do. So I am a remote freelancer. I source. That I do a lot. Sourcing means that I give charts with profiles matching the job requirements to my clients. Basically, that's it. I work with companies and with agencies. I work with a German agency, and and I hire globally, and most of my hires actually come in through Reddit. So I use Reddit to source. I use Facebook groups. I use Slack communities. Also GitHub. GitHub is awesome to get contacts, to get emails. I also use LinkedIn to reach out to people, and obviously Stack Overflow, which I will also talk a little bit more about today. I also recruit, which means that that I also take part in the rest of the hiring process. That means that I usually conduct the first talk, just do the screening, get some additional facts, schedule and coordinate the process between the client and the candidate. And what I also like to do is enable talent. So how do I do this? Well, I help IT professionals with the next step in their careers by helping them with CV reviews, by doing reviewing job applications, giving tips on LinkedIn profiles. I post remote jobs in several Slack communities as a job board to kind of give access also a little bit to the whole remote work market, because usually recruiters and sourcers are not engaged for remote work. And I also advocate a lot for developers as candidates and as employees, but a lot of times by being a social justice warrior on Facebook, which you probably maybe saw me as well there. Anyway, so this is most of the things that I do during the day. So when I was sourcing, I'm sorry, I have an echo, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I managed, sorry. So I was sourcing and I was getting sourcing on Stack Overflow, and I was reviewing all of these profiles. So I wanted to kind of give you a small insight in what I've learned. Please keep in mind that I'm not a developer, I'm not a researcher. So what you will see is basically data that is, of course, relevant for me as a sourcer, right? Okay, so what I did, I used Recruiter Flow. They have this cute little SQL query generator, and I generated this nice little piece of code. So then I went and I ran this query, and I got 2,660 profiles on Stack Overflow that have the location set to Slovenia. So then I went and I checked all of these profiles. I checked the description, I checked the web pages, the reputations, and some stats about questions and answers. So maybe I will start with these. So Slovenian Stack Overflow users won 230 bounties, and all of these were won by 121 people. And the person that won the most bounties actually won 15 of them, so great job. Then 1,300 users posted some questions, and together they posted basically more than 12,000 questions, and more than 27 answers came from 1,125 developers from Slovenia. So the most important thing for me as a sourcer is to understand the stack that, of course, the developer is working in. So this is where I used a lot of my time to go through to check the text and the stats with regards to languages that Slovenian developers develop in the most. I would still, just take this data with a grain of salt, because this is based on info that is provided by developers and on the profiles, just on Stack Overflow. But I did kind of cross-check it with GitHub, and the percentage is quite realistic. So yeah, Python developers are the second most common developers in Slovenia. Java developers, around 10% of people program in Java. And yeah, it's kind of realistic that there is around...
Hey, I'm gonna interrupt you for a second, Sara.
Yeah, so I was talking about, how many developers we have in each technology, right? Yeah. So I think this data is quite realistic then, around 300 Java developers we have in Slovenia, a little bit more. So yeah, that's quite realistic, around 10%. Maybe I should wait more. Roman is not going to be happy, but yeah. Okay, so then I went and the profiles that I checked also, more than half of them didn't have any descriptions, and around 500, a little bit more than 500 profiles had web pages. And then I went and I also checked these web pages. And wait a minute. Yeah, so what I got was this, I kind of divided it into different categories. And a quarter of all the links were broken, which was very sad to see. But the rest was kind of cool. So there was some very cool and unique things that people do for the links on their webpage, on their Stack Overflow profiles. There are some people that did a loop. So the link to the Stack Overflow profile was the Stack Overflow profile link. Most of them do use personal web pages, so blogs, and other representation sites, landing pages, just with links on, and then there is also quite a lot of hello world pages, just like no links, nothing, just H1 text of hello world, or this will become a web page soon, or something like that. And quite a lot of people did put in stuff like none or google.com, or there were just other also other like project sites and so on. And I kind of wanted, since we are talking about cool Stack Overflow profiles, I would like to mention Mr. Kumara here. He has sadly not been active for the last 6 years, so I don't know where he is, but he should come back. He lives in Vrt, Slovenia, and when you do click on his webpage, you go directly to this Wikipedia. Wait, when you click his webpage, you go directly to this Wikipedia page on cucumbers. Okay, and so reputation, yay! You probably know that Stack Overflow has a way to check to keep a score about reputation. So almost 50% of all developers have a reputation over 10. That means that at least one answer or one question that they post was upvoted. And top 3 by reputation are, as you can see, the first one is Robert Koritnik with over 96,000 points of reputation. And this makes him the number 1,022 developer, 22nd developer on Stack Overflow in terms of reputation. The second one is Peter Knego. And the third one is Roman here. We will ask him later about this a little bit more as well. And Roman is is on the 1,980th place by reputation in the whole Stack Overflow. That's more than 13, almost 14 million profiles. Yeah, so what I actually kind of also wanted to touch upon is, using Stack Overflow profile and using this feature called developer story. So you can include, you have a separate tag to have your developer story in, and you can include a lot of stuff in your developer story, your work history, obviously the stack that you are working with or you want to work in, some publications, blogs and videos. You can link directly to the repositories of GitHub and so on. And you can, this is a really neat feature because then you can use it as a CV, and you can just export PDF and get it. I wanted to open this, but do you see this now?
Yep.
Do you see the developer story of Robert?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to check to show you, right? So the profile, it's here, and then you have the developer story, and then you can just share a lot of things about yourself, and why would you want to do that? This is a really nice way to showcase your skills as a developer, and not just focusing on where you worked and what you studied, but also what you do and what are your interests. It's a great tool to also apply directly to Stack Overflow jobs, because you can just use this profile then to apply for jobs without having a separate CV, and you can do everything in Stack Overflow, because Stack Overflow also offers a talent solution, Stack Overflow Talent, where companies can post jobs, and then this also has an applicant tracking system, and you are also then right in their applicant tracking system, and it's very nice and convenient for developers and for companies. And why am I telling you this? Stack Overflow has, like I said, almost 14 million users, and it's becoming very, very important tool for sourcing. So the Evans Data Corporation estimated that there is around 27 million developers worldwide, and Stack Overflow says that around 20 million developers, that their estimation is that around 20 million developers each month use Stack Overflow. So it's just a very, very huge part of developer culture. And so in the 2020 developer study that Stack Overflow did on almost 65,000 people, almost 60% of all the developers of all the users of Stack Overflow were open for new opportunities, even though they already had a job, and almost 20% were active job seekers. But at the same time, more than half of developers would change jobs just to be able to work in the stack that they want to. And also a third of developers, more than a third of developers already visited the Stack Overflow's jobs page, even though they are not active seekers of employment. So having a great Stack Overflow profile, what it does is basically it enables you to showcase who you are, to get better job offers from recruiters and sourcers. Since if you are already getting spam, might as well be spam that you're actually interested in. You can use these to showcase, to also to help and say what you want to work with to kind of make the next step in transition into a different stack if you want to. You can, like I said, apply directly in Stack Overflow jobs, and also you can build a quality team like that, because people, there is a lot of developers that tell me that they do check these profiles of people that they will work with, of companies also, but also coworkers, because everyone wants to work with interesting people, and this is also a great way to kind of build up your team, and also to get this reputation of being a great developer for the knowledge that you have, right? So get some recognition for the knowledge that you have. I'm so sorry. I was talking about this, right? Here is the chart. Yeah, okay. And that would be kind of it from my side, I guess. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? I am sorry, I got a little bit thrown off from the pause.
Yeah, please post the questions in the chat. You can also raise your hand if you want to actually speak. But yeah, we usually do the chat. So I also want to mention that when Sara and I were talking about this talk and this meetup, she asked whether any of us has any more general questions about what she does and how she does it, and just generally asked me what are the things that maybe we would ask a recruiter. And I think that I didn't have a lot of very smart questions. So if anyone else does, I want to, I think we can make this like a broader discussion on the way that she does her job. So yeah. We already have a question from Matej. Did you manage to source, recruit anyone from Stack Overflow? Were they surprised?
Yeah, so from Stack Overflow, yes, so I use them this data to kind of go and check these profiles, right? So I get this data, I get how I source on these platforms is to give me ideas where to start. So I did recruit people from Stack Overflow, but I didn't tell them that. So I don't know if they were surprised. I usually don't tell them where I get the data. To answer the next one, so what is the hardest thing about recruiting devs in 2020? and what should be easier for you, for us. So for me, it would be way easier if there would be more data about stacks, mostly technologies, mostly. I think this would help my colleagues more, because a lot of my colleagues just check keywords. And if you guys put all the keywords of everything that you have that has ever been installed on your computer, basically this makes our job way harder, right? And it takes a little bit more skill to recognize, what this person is actually good at. But I also really understand that being a developer is quite hard in terms of getting a lot of spam, getting a lot of people. You guys are more developers are more conscious about personal data. So I also understand why it's so hard to get a lot of personal data about developers, emails, just all of these things that of course would make my job easier, right? So then I have to go in GitHub and check repositories, committed repositories, to get emails, and be creative in how to get to you. What should be easier for you? Definitely. I don't want to go too much into details, because then I can talk for really a long time about this. But I think the whole process, how it's set up, the whole work culture, especially in Slovenia, it's really not it's not as creative as it could be. Let's put it like that. And also this goes hand in hand with hiring, right? So if the company doesn't appreciate its candidates, its employees, then they also cannot appreciate candidates and their time. And this is something that I see that bugs developers the most, right? People not really respecting their time in the process of giving them super complex tasks that take a whole working day, sometimes more. Developers taking time off, to be part of interviews, and then just a bad experience, basically. Should I just go on with this?
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Thanks.
How do you recruit for niche positions? Well, I don't know what I mean. Niche position in Slovenia, it's DevOps already. We have literally like 50 DevOps people. Like this is already niche position for Slovenia. So I don't know. Some very so far I haven't been given really some very weird profiles. Let's say some super niche profiles, but. I don't know. I focus mostly on developers, and then for global market, niche positions for global market. Okay. Like I said, I mostly hire developers, and they are not the clients that I work with. Luckily, are not super niche, so I don't really have experience with like some really, really, really hard to get profiles, right? It's just developers. So
Yeah, you can give like an example if, I don't know, you want to say like Haskell or I don't know what you had in mind, Blaž.
Yeah, with niche positions. I mean, I don't know, there are some guys that are a lot more. For example, we had a client that needed someone to program. They were working in car industry, and there was a position related to that, and I just kind of didn't source for that one, and that's how how I work right now, because I'm maybe just to like I studied international relations. I am not an HR person. I'm not a tech person. I'm just in this industry by chance, and I really like it. And I have been talking with developers for over 10 years. I'm married to a developer, and I always hated how everyone looks at this crowd of people like there are some unapproachable fairies, instead of just like taking time and talk with developers, and not just like put them in an office somewhere where nobody sees them. And then because of that, I started also helping with recruiting and with the recruitment process. And then I came back to Slovenia, and I realized that my knowledge, however limited it is, it's actually surprisingly a lot for the recruiters that I deal with every day with Slovenian companies and agencies. And their tech knowledge is just not really there. So that's why how I approach things is just, this is the profiles that I've been usually given, developers, and I only specialize for that. Where is the line between recruiting and poaching? I don't know. I don't think I ever poach people. Like, I think the line is, I don't know. I mean, developers take their jobs, on their own. I don't force them to change jobs. So I don't think if it's really poaching in any case. How do you convince people to work on outdated Java stacks? I usually don't. I will be honest. Like, if I call someone and like, hey, do you want to work in Java? And then they're like, yeah, sure. What's the company? And then I tell them the company, and then they're like, nope. Then I'm not going to continue, because I understand. Like I said, I also see the other side. I am a wife of a developer. I see how this is important, and I know that this is really not, it cannot end well. If the developer doesn't want to work for a company or in an outdated technology, because I am aware what old Java code means. Like, I am aware that this is not I am aware of legacy code. I am aware that this is not something that people want to work with. They don't want to use a week to change the background. They don't want to scroll through thousands and thousands of lines of code. So then I just I never convince them, because I know that it's not going to end well. And if both the client and the candidate are not satisfied, what's the point? Does free fruit and good coffee help in job recruiting? No, it does not. No, it doesn't. This is so over. I hate this. And free parking space. Oh, wow, really? I mean, at least we want remote jobs. Like, and even that, I mean, is this a perk? Remote has been around for like 10 years. I mean, what's unique about being remote? I mean, now with Corona, even my mom is remote, like, come on, like, this is not a perk. This is just normal, right? I mean, this should be self-explanatory, but this is expected. So what's the next trend? Definitely shorter working hours, for sure. I mean, why not? I mean, once you earn as much money as developers do, you start appreciating time, and you never appreciate long meetings. So, there's a win: less meetings and more developing and less working, right? So shorter working hours. That's definitely something that is coming around. And also multi teams made from different profiles. This kind of organizational, how the work is organized in a company. If there are multidisciplinary teams, if there are flat hierarchies, if the work is organized with sprints or in a Scrum system or whatever. I mean, these are all way more important than fruit. And also for job ads, tech stack, right? But like really tech stack, like not just 3 keywords. Like, so when a developer sees, okay, they use this and this and this and this, exactly, you can already imagine how the structure, like how the code is made, and then on the first interview you can ask about that, right? But not just 2 keywords, Java, AWS, and that's it. Like, no. Some more information about the stack, and then you also have super, like you already have a lot of people that just fall off because of that, because they see, okay, whatever, all Java code, no thanks. Do you think there's a positive trend with being more transparent with salary range in ads, or are the companies still firmly wanting to keep this to themselves until the start of the interview process? I don't know. I don't care. I always write the compensation. Someone, there are some clients that are like, yeah, we would prefer you we would prefer that you don't tell what's the budget. No problem. I just won't put the maximum, but I will always put some salary range in my job ads if it's in my outreach, okay, in my outreach to developers, my first message to developers, because I think that is really important and it saves so much time. And also 70% of developers are willing to change their jobs based on salary compensation. So why not start there? I mean, it's a good way to get developers into conversation, if nothing else, right? Are mostly senior developers being recruited, or that it doesn't matter that much? Do companies even reach out to recruiters for below senior devs? Yeah, for sure they do. Yeah, they do. I mean, obviously, super juniors, people from the uni and so on. I mean, recruiters are just too expensive for that a little bit. So not really, but I wouldn't say that it's just senior developers being recruited, for sure not. I mean, I've placed developers with 2 to 3 years of experience. So what I call junior developers, yes, I've placed junior developers and I've had orders for junior developers. Can recruiters deny candidates if they ask too much money, even if they fit, or do recruiters let the company decide? I never deny people on money, never. It happened to me already that, a person was over budget, but I knew it was a very, very nice fit for the job. And it never happened that the person wasn't then hired at the end of the day. Because, like, who cares at the end of the day for 500 euros more or less, if the person is a perfect fit, it's worth it. So I never deny any candidates. If the wage is way too high, then I usually say that, and I say, look, I can tell you what's the budget. Are you willing to continue talking? And then if they are, this tells me that maybe it's not just about the money, so then it's fine that we continue. And if not, they just stop the conversation themselves usually. Are we asking for too little salary in Slovenia as developers? I don't know. Yes and no. It's not an easy question. It's not an easy question. I think you should go on the Facebook group and read the the comments from three different posts that were just happening now, because it's not so straightforward, right? Of course, employees have to bring value, and they are also paid based on the value that they bring to the company. And if a company is a small company that does same old things with the same old software, sure, you cannot expect to be paid the same as I don't know, a developer in a startup in München or in Zurich. But in general, I think that Slovenian developers are not really aware of their market value in terms of how much money they could actually earn, because they don't change jobs so often. In Germany, it's really, really, really common that developers change jobs every 2 years. And with almost every job change, there is a pay increase. But in Slovenia, there is really a lot of people that stay 10, 15 years at a company. And then, of course, once they do go on the job market, they are not really aware of the prices, of how much they're actually worth. There are some resources for sure, but yeah, this is always hard. And this is hard for me when I'm applying for job. Like if I apply for a job, this is also hard. Like, how much do you want to earn? I mean, this is yeah, always a hard question. 10 minutes, right? You saw that.
Yeah, Dror is
yeah, so between the talks, I'm gonna send a new link here on in the meetup and on the Python channel. But Sarah, please do finish.
Yeah, let's just do Sara until the end, and then we can do Marco on the next link.
Okay. Do you think there are too few Slovenian developers working remote for abroad companies? I mean, sure, yes, definitely. Definitely, because I think this would really help the Slovenian development community as a whole, in general, because first of all, you grow super fast. Working for foreign companies, you have a different relationship with, you know, working for going in an office in Ljubljana somewhere, you know, and or working with people from all over the world remotely. I think you grow as a person in a different way, and also professionally. Like, I don't know, the experience that my husband has in 4 years in Germany, it would take him, I don't know, 10 years in Slovenia to achieve the same level of technical growth that he managed, right? So for sure, not just because of the salary, but also to then see how other companies are doing developing, and also then to help and to bring this knowledge back to the Slovenian tech scene. Yeah, so definitely not enough Slovenians working abroad. But how do we compare to cheaper workforce? For example, Romanians. You are not cheaper. They are not cheaper. No, they are not. Nigerian developers earn 40K per year. So no, you are not cheaper. I have Indian friends that, you know, work for American companies for 120K per year, no problem. So no, you don't compare to cheaper, because there is no cheaper. It's the global market. These are the prices, and the companies that offer below, I don't know, 26 to 30K per year, I mean, there is not a lot of them, right? And usually then there would be a reason, because you are still way cheaper if you are earning, I don't know, 80K for an American company than an American is, and this is their threshold, right? Not the person in a third world country that can live with 1/4 of what you earn, right? So are Slovenians afraid to work remotely, or what do you think there isn't much talent from Slovenia work abroad? I don't know. I think that there is quite some talent from Slovenia working abroad, but I know for me, I think that the biggest obstacle is not knowing where to go, not knowing, first of all, that there's so many remote companies, and where to even look for a job, and how to even approach the remote job market, because it's a very different job market. You have a lot of competition on Stack Overflow. They said that there is 6 times more applications for remote jobs than it is for on-site jobs. So it's really important for developers then, of course, to stand out, right? And this is really hard. And I think this is the first step that is missing. And then a lot of people will apply, will not get anywhere, and then we'll kind of just, you know, stop. And this is what I also do. So ping me if you want some advice, because this is exactly what I wanted to kind of offer this help on how to even approach the remote job market. Because before we left for Germany, I had no clue that you know, Mattia could get a job like that. And then when we came back, it was so obvious, because in Germany we've seen so many remote companies. I've hired remote developers already there. So yeah, I got a lot of resources on where to find them, and then also where to find work, right? Are relatively high taxes not counting as per a hindrance to offer competitive wages? I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah, for sure. No. I think it depends on the preference. I mean, this is a super hard question that, you know, I'm getting now 1,000 political answers that I can give from my FDV times, but I don't think this I should do here. But yeah, I don't think that I don't think that for a developer, high tax it really matters, because I think developers are aware of the taxes in Slovenia, and they are aware that there is a difference in 3,000 euro brutto and 4,000 euro brutto. They are aware that at the end of the day, they are not going to get you know, the differences in netto are you know what they are. So I don't think that this in itself is a problem. I think not offering high wages is more of a problem, you know, just not giving this money or not offering these wages for a variety of reasons, right? It's here why the wages are low. Okay, yeah. Taxes are good. I like taxes. I think we should pay taxes. I agree with Jure here, but I also can see the problem where you know, you are getting 6K on SP every month, or when you are getting it as a brutto permanent employment, and I can see why you know, people would prefer to be freelancers, but it's not something that you want to do your whole life, right? I mean, this is on the long term, it's not better to not pay in the taxes and then to get a poor pension at the end and so on, right? So okay.
Sounds like we've reached a natural end.
Oh yeah, sorry. To end my talk, please, Roman. Yeah, I said I want to ask you. So, how much time do you spend on Stack Overflow to have such a great profile? I checked. I mean, it's not that you are like binging there and constantly refreshing stuff and seeing what you can answer on R, but I still want to know how do you? I mean, it takes you 10 years, but how do you get there?
So the reputation can be misleading. If you are early on a topic that you answer a lot of questions, you get a lot of upvotes. So there's a time component. But so when I'm looking at Stack Overflow profiles, I'm not looking at reputation per se, but rather how people interact with other users, how they comment, if they're being arrogant, if they're being nice, how do they work out the technical details of their answer or a question even. So that's stuff I'm looking at when I'm looking at a personality on Stack Overflow. So reputation points are like a ballpark indicator, but you know, you should ignore it, because if somebody answers how to close Vim and he gets 10,000 or she gets 10,000 upvotes, you know, that's not, it doesn't reflect their know-how much.